Me too.
Good evening, everyone. It is December 30th, night before New Year's Eve, and unbeknownst to Justine Giles, she is my 200th guest tonight, right now. So there you go. This is episode 200. We didn't plan it, it's just how it worked out. Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers. 200. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. I've been just going for it, really. So.
That's awesome.
I was trying to look up what the world record is for like podcast frequency because I do it like 5 nights a week. But
wow.
Yeah, and I started last February, so I was just kind of like, oh, maybe I'm gonna get a fucking record or something, but I don't know. I can't find anything. Maybe I'll make one. Maybe I should get us know what I'm doing out here. You guys ever see this shit?
That's dedication. Honestly, it's dedication. And it's crazy because I guess you started it right before the pandemic then? Yeah.
I started right before the pandemic, and then I really, really was lucky, and I feel like I cashed in because I talked to musicians, and what can musicians do right now but fuck all?
Exactly.
So by the time this is all over, it'll be very bittersweet. All my friends I've made will be gone playing shows. Maybe I'll be able to see them live one day. Who knows? You know?
Who knows? Hopefully.
Did you ever play here in Regina?
No, I've never been.
You've never been to Regina? Good. Stay away.
I've never been to Saskatchewan actually.
Where are you from originally?
Ontario, Sudbury.
Sudbury, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Northern Ontario. And
Northern Ontario.
I haven't been to Saskatchewan or Manitoba. I've been pretty much everywhere else though.
Yeah.
Well,
really?
Not the Yukon. Yeah.
No, not the Yukon.
No. I love BC. Yeah. That is too extreme. One of my aunts worked up in Nunavut for a long time.
Okay.
And it just sounded like the craziest experience. I personally wouldn't be able to handle it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not just like fucking winter all the time.
Yeah. And then the sun doesn't come out for a while. And then other times it's there all the time. It's rough.
The 24-hour sun. Yeah.
I couldn't do it. It takes a strong person to live up there.
Yeah, totally. And isn't it like super, super expensive for like bottled water and shit? It's like $10 a bottle or some shit. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, literally all their groceries are super expensive because they have to ship everything up there on a boat and go through all these icebergs and a couple planes just to even get up there. So.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
They pay people well to work up there, but then it's like, really, are you making any money?
Gone.
Because, yeah, exactly. If your rent is through the roof and your groceries are triple the price of what you would pay.
Yeah, you're not doing that good. You're not doing that good, really. It's like, I'll pay you fucking $80 an hour, but your rent is $7,000 a week.
Exactly.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe if you love winter, and honestly though, like a lot of people love going up there for the sense of like just a different community, and they do contribute a lot to the communities up there, and that aspect is beautiful. But I don't think I'm strong, but I don't think I'm that strong to handle it.
You're Ontario strong. There you go.
Yeah, I'm Sudbury strong.
You're Sudbury strong.
That's about it.
And where are you now? You're in Alberta now, right?
Yeah, I'm in Calgary now.
How did you make the jump from Sudbury to Calgary and completely bypass Saskatchewan?
Right?
Good for you.
Flew right over. Once you fly over Ontario, that's a big province to fly over, actually. That's most of the flight. It's just like Ontario is a huge province.
Right.
Yeah. I actually moved to Montreal for a while.
Okay.
And then I moved to Toronto for a couple years, and that chewed me up and spit me out, which people probably heard on the Funky Moose podcast.
Yeah.
And I have like a lot of artist friends in Alberta, and I just thought, I need a fresh start, like personally and professionally. So I literally moved here last fall.
Nice.
So a little over a year ago.
Okay.
And then the pandemic hit. So yeah.
So you're just settling in, and then you're totally screwed.
Pretty much.
Jesus.
Story of my life. I was just getting what I wanted, and it's all gone.
Wow.
Yeah. No, but honestly, like I've had a really good year considering
Mhm.
everything that's gone on. I'm really, really blessed to know the artists that I know here.
Yeah.
Like I took a music program in Toronto, and a bunch of artists were involved from across Canada. So I met some of my best friends that were from Calgary or from Vancouver, and it was great for networking. So I came out here to visit before I moved. And I was like, at least if I move out here, I have friends and I
Yeah.
know a handful of people. And as soon as I moved out here, I mean, I just started going to shows because there were still shows last fall,
Yeah. Yeah.
fortunately.
That was a long time ago.
It feels like forever ago. So basically, as soon as I landed, I mean, I was very lucky to book some gigs, and like it's a very small network of people. And it reminds me of Sudbury in that way.
Okay.
It's a big city, but it's a fairly small community in
Yeah.
terms of the arts. So I was really lucky just to network my butt off as
Yeah.
soon as I got here.
No
And
doubt.
made a lot of good connections. And then a couple months went by, and then, the pandemic hit. So
And then
it's
everything you
been,
were working on was all for naught at that point.
yeah, it's pretty challenging for sure,
100%. Because you
Yeah.
had just won that, or well, you didn't just win. I saw that you won that Jim Beam Star Search thing there, whatever the hell it was. That Jim
Yeah,
Beam deal, and that was right. That was during the pandemic, so good for you.
it
That's
was.
fucking crazy.
Yeah. It was super exciting, and even that in itself was like probably one of the highlights of my year because it was a gig when everyone's gigs are canceled, and I'll take it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, for
what
sure.
was really funny about it too is I forgot I even applied. And the next thing you know, they're like, "You're a finalist." I was like, "Oh,
For
okay."
what? Yeah. Finalist for
you
what?
know?
What are you doing?
Yeah, I totally forgot. But yeah, that was a really great time, and I was just so grateful. It's nice when you work with good people, and I forgot how good that felt. Like I had great musicians in my band that I could hire for the day,
Mhm.
and we just had such a good time. And we worked with like a great producer, sound engineer for the day, and it was just a blast. And I forgot how good that felt, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
How often were you gigging before the pandemic hit?
Well, it's kind of like an interesting question because I stopped playing over the past year
Mhm.
or so, maybe like year and a half
Mhm.
before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Just because I had like a lot of stuff blow up in my life in Toronto. Like I just did this crazy music program and things were going really well, and was kind of finding my footing there. But I also had like a really crazy relationship situation that blew up in my face, and I
Oh,
was
Jesus.
just a wreck.
Fair
um,
enough. Yeah.
and yeah, for the first time in my life, I just felt like I couldn't write anymore. I stopped gigging. Like I just totally lost myself. And it was brutal. And so it's interesting going through this pandemic because I'm just starting to get myself back now
Hmm.
in a time where everyone feels like how I felt. You know
So
what I
you're
mean?
getting yourself back in a time where everybody's feeling like they're losing themselves,
Yeah.
right?
And don't get me wrong. I mean, I have my days still where I feel like I'm still lost. I mean, I'm in a fairly new place and
Mhm.
I have no family here and
Right.
I'm pretty new.
Right.
But at the same time, like I am getting parts of myself back that I had lost within the past couple years
Right.
during a very destructive year
Right.
for everybody. Um, which is really trippy when you think about it, because
That's
I just feel like a lot of people are in the same boat as me. And I just felt like I really honestly felt like I was really behind. I felt like I've always been a bit of like a perfectionist and an overachiever, and I really like to be busy and go, go, go. And I used to gig pretty much every day.
nice.
Um, but then it went down to like, maybe once a week. And then it went down to like going months without gigging.
Mhm.
And that's something that when it's missing from my life, I just don't feel like myself. So,
Right.
um, yeah, just crazy. It's so crazy because right now everyone knows how bad it feels to not gig. Like if it's in your heart and in your soul to play music to people and to write songs and to have that be such a significant part of your life, to have that stripped away eats at you because it's a huge part of your like identity as a person and as an artist. And it's like I don't want anyone to feel that pain, but at the same time, it's kind of comforting knowing that people understand what that feels like, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, you're not alone.
Yeah.
At least from that, in that sense, the artistic sense and wanting to gig. Like, I feel
Totally.
bad. I feel bad for all the musicians out there for sure. Like, fuck, man. Everybody I've talked to, and I think this is the problem. It was everybody's year in 2020. That was it. It was going to be 2020 was my year. It's doing this.
Exactly.
Everybody had too much shit planned, and now here we are.
Exactly. And that's why it's funny going into 2021 because, you know, I'm seeing all these memes about like 2021, January 1st. It's like, do you really think it's going to be that different? I mean, I want to be hopeful and positive, but it's like, this stuff doesn't go away overnight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
it's not going to be just midnight and then, oh, it's gone. It's fine. No problem.
Yeah. It's all gone. It was all a dream. Like, resume your life.
Be free.
I mean, I wish, I freaking wish, but unfortunately, sometimes in life, things are a process. And I think that's very much what I'm taking away from this year and from the previous couple of years where I've just struggled to like get back to who I am and what I want to do and what my goals are. It's like when you're really knocked down and everything is taken away from you, it takes time to get back. It doesn't happen overnight. And I think a lot of things that exist in the world right now try to say otherwise, whether that's like social media or just, it's just like this false sense of just what reality is. Like, I mean, I try my best to stay positive and I think a positive attitude is really important, but at the same time, like, you don't want to be delusional either, because I think it's easy to like compare yourself to other people online or even on TV or on movies. Like, it's glorified overnight success and, you know, these perfect relationships and things that just are great all the time. And it's just like,
just perfect.
you know, but it's not life. That's not real life. Real life is hard sometimes. And I just think it's a journey. It's a process. And I think the more we start accepting that, the better we are mentally. So,
that's right. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
You know?
It's about being realistic with your own standards you set for yourself and not basing them on what you see on Instagram or fucking CBS or whatever. Exactly.
Yeah. But I think it's hard. You know, I've been thinking about this a lot lately, mostly because I'm just an introspective, analytical person. And I think about these things, but you know, like, I'm not thinking about this because it's a pandemic. I mean, I just always am thinking about these kinds of things, but I just think it's so interesting because we start seeing those things from the time we're really young. Like, we see Hollywood from the time we're like born, pretty much. It's like, this is the way it is, and this is how your life is supposed to be, and this is how relationships are supposed to look, and this is how your family life is supposed to look. And we just learn from such a young age that like it has to be this way, and if it's not this way, then you're wrong. You have no worth. Like, it's just crazy, you know. Which is why I love doing stuff like this and talking to real people about real experiences, because that's what life is really about, I think.
Yeah, it is 100%. For sure. It's I don't know. It is tough, you know. You sit there and you kind of base your own success even on people around you. It's like, well, fuck, look at this guy. Look at this guy's car. This guy's got this and that, and you know, that sort of thing. It's like, yeah, but man, you know, you're still happy, and you got the right. I think you got the right thought process going. You know.
Yeah. I think it does all come, it comes down to that. It's exactly what you said, you know, it's happiness. Like keeping up with the Joneses, like that's been around for a long time. Like, this is not new. I think it's intensified right now because we're locked down and we're isolated. And guess what? The only way we can connect with people is on a fucking screen. And that's, how real is that? You know, these are the things that I'm thinking about constantly, because it's like, you start to just question what's real anymore.
Right.
Like,
100%.
You know, and you question like, am I happy? What do I want with my life? Like, am I where I want to be? And like all these crazy questions start coming up, you know. It's just, it's unreal. Like, I've always been someone who wants to just genuinely connect with people. And that's so important to me. And it's really hard for me in a time like this because like my source of connection is on a screen, like my phone.
It's hard to, yeah, for
and
sure.
It's like, how is that reality, you know?
Well, I guess like you said, in the sense of like, I'm a real person, you know, but like you're not face to face for sure. But, you know, I guess it's not like talking to like a news anchor or some shit like that, or, you know, like a media mogul, which, God damn it, I will be next fucking 300 episodes. You'll see. You know what I mean?
But you know what? I even find something like this, like we're face to face and this is in real time. I find like this is more real than like texting sometimes.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell tone and you can't tell body language and all that kind of stuff, right? And with social media, like I love Instagram, but at the same time, there's a lot of fake stuff on there too. Like there's a lot of highlight reels of people's lives and look at this, and this is a perfectly edited photo. I mean, having a face-to-face video call is probably the realest thing I can find on a screen, I think, right now. Like, you know, it's the closest thing to having someone over for a coffee, I think.
And, you know, and who would have thought that we'd see a time where that would be like a fucking no-no ever,
right?
You know, it's like you can't even have, like here, we can't have anybody in the house except for
Same here.
Whoever lives here. Type thing. Well, there's 4 of us. It's not like there's a fucking 70 people. There's only 4 of us, but you know.
Yeah, it's the same here.
Mm-hmm.
And for a while, we were really lucky because our numbers were fairly low, and we started having more like social distancing concerts, and I was able to at least go and see my friends every once in a while, or have a dinner and wear the masks and have like all the protocols in the limited capacity. But that all just stopped within the past month, and we went into like our second lockdown, and same, like you can't have anyone over for dinner, can't really visit with anybody. And that's hard. Like again, just on a human psyche level, like we're built to connect with people.
That's right.
You know, and when that's taken away and it's basically against the law, I just think it's really hard. Like, I think it's really hard on everyone's mind right now, and emotions and even physically. Like, you know, I haven't had a hug in a long time. That makes me grumpy. Like, you know, I'm like a child. I'm like a toddler, you know? But it's true. I mean, when you think about it, like when kids are born, that's a very, they're in such an impressionable time. Like if you don't feed and like nurture your child and like hug your child, like it affects them for the rest of their life.
That's true.
There's something to be said about that. You know?
Yeah. It has the same kind of effect the older you are, the longer you go without that sort of,
Yeah, I mean, 100%. People can do it, but I think we all do it miserably. Like,
miserably, for sure.
I mean, this is pretty deep, but like, I've been thinking about how this, in a way, for me, feels pretty freaking familiar, and that's scary to me because I've gone through times in my life where I've been in situations and relationships that have taken me away from my friends and my family, and I've felt this kind of isolation before.
Right.
And that's terrifying to think about.
Yeah.
Because it's like, this was my normal at one point. Yeah. Like, how fucking crazy is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And it's, I think for me, it's triggering that way, but it just puts things into perspective, you know, because I've been really lucky to move across the country and to meet such beautiful people and be able to, like, pre-pandemic or in the pandemic where our restrictions were very much lifted and our numbers were low, like I was able to create and establish relationships really quickly here.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
And that's not something to take for granted.
No, it's not something to take for granted, but it's hard to, you know, it's almost hard, like you say, just sending a text out here and there is not the same as being able to say, hey, let's go grab a beer and fucking hang out and, you know, shit like that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And there's just something about live music too. Like, even if I'm not the person on stage, like going to support my artist friends, I mean, it's a collective experience. Like everyone that's in the room is connected because of the music.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, 100%.
Which is awesome. So yeah, I think everyone's really missing that right now.
Totally. Yeah, for sure. What was the last concert you saw?
The last concert I saw was probably one of Matt's shows. Yeah, Matt Blaze. I think he played. I saw two of his shows right before the lockdown. One of them was with his full band, and his whole band is great. And they played at this like little bar, and I just remember that night. All of the staff were talking about, oh, we hear that there's going to be another lockdown. And it was like a couple days before things shut down again. And I think a couple days later, he ended up booking some brunch shows at one of like the most popular restaurant bars here in town. And I wasn't planning on going. And he's like, oh, you should come down for a coffee. And it was a Saturday morning and I had nothing to do because things were still fairly shut down. And I was like, oh, might as well just go for a coffee. And I'm so glad I went because like that was the last time I had a social outing. You know, was that brunch. Yeah. And some of our friends were there and we had like this delicious meal and we had coffee and he sang a couple tunes and there was kids and families and they were all so into the music and little did I know the next day, like everything's shut down and everyone's gigs are canceled for the rest of the year. And it's just like, oh, okay.
Well, shit. Yeah.
So I think that was probably sometime in November. Yeah.
That's good. That's good then. At least it wasn't like last March or something. Like,
I mean, it feels like forever ago.
It feels like forever, yeah, for sure. Well, pandemic time is so fucked up, right? It feels so.
Oh my god!
And so
right?
slow at the same time.
At the same time, yeah. I struggle with that all the time because
it's already been like 9 months. Like somebody could have had a baby in this time already. But also, it's like, holy fuck! It's only been 9 months. It feels like 3 years.
I know. Do you remember when they first said in March, this will be 2 weeks? Like, we're going to shut everything down for 2 weeks.
I remember that. And I thought, good, fine, fuck whatever, no problem. It was not 2 weeks.
And here we are like almost a year later. I mean,
almost it's just... a year later. Well, you know, they got the vaccine coming and blah, blah, blah. But
I think it's still going to be a while.
It's still going to be a while.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, even with a vaccine, it's going to take a couple months to roll that out to the general public because it's going to, the healthcare providers first.
As it should, yeah.
Fair, exactly. I mean, it is what it is, and it is what it's supposed to be. But I think by the time it gets to, the general public, it's going to be quite a while. And even with that, they're still saying, I mean, this is a brand new vaccine, so you don't know side effects, you don't know effectiveness. So I think you're still supposed to wear a mask and you're still supposed to like do all the normal things.
Supposed to do all the same shit you're doing now.
Exactly.
But you have this vaccine.
I think you can actually still catch COVID if you get the vaccine.
So. Yeah.
From what I understand. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. But, it's not an end all be all. Again, back to this message of like, nothing's going to be gone overnight. Like,
no,
it doesn't matter if you're healing from a virus or if you're healing your heart or if you're whatever. I mean, things just...
They could, you know what? If the virus is going to run its course and everything like that, but like people can help that by just, I know you guys got that moron over there, Kenny, in charge of doing what the fuck, you know what I mean? But like, if you could get everybody together, and I think that's my biggest fuck, because I fucking hate our fucking premier too. He's a piece of shit. But sorry, I'm not sorry, you fucking moron.
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. If they could have somehow had like a united fucking one catch-all way to just be like, okay, everywhere across the board is doing it this way, and that's it, and not leave it up to each individual fucking province to do it.
Exactly.
Then maybe we would have had a chance. Like this guy, our guy's is such an idiot. Like Justin Trudeau could say, I'm going to give you $50 million, shut it down, do what you got to do, and he would bitch that he got it in $5 bills. Type thing, like he's one of those guys. He just has it out for anything the feds want to do, fuck them. But it's like, come on, man, like you're not making good choices over here anyways. Like shit's blowing up again over here, so like I think our ICUs are fucked. They're done basically, so I don't know. Like
it's terrifying. But I hear you because
to think about.
It is. I hear you, because I think people are going through the same thing here, where we really should have had our second lockdown much earlier than we did.
Yes. Yeah. Or they should
Because,
have had something in place throughout summer.
yep.
And I'm
Yep.
sorry, but when you give people a fucking inch, they'll take a mile. And I'm not saying I want to
100%.
have government control and this and that, but I'm just saying, if you look at places like Korea, that shit was snuffed out in a fucking heartbeat. It was done.
Yep.
You know, because they listened. Well, they didn't have a choice, right? I'm not saying.
Well, that's the thing.
You know,
Yeah, it wasn't just.
At first, when it started, I was like, you know what? Fucking boots on the ground in 3 weeks. That's it. Get everybody inside with their fucking. The army's coming. Fuck it. You know, just get it done.
Yeah.
Right. But
no, but exactly. I think you're right, because when people are given a choice and it's like it's recommended, but it's not mandatory. That's the key thing. And unfortunately,
we recommend you. Yeah, it's like, oh.
Unfortunately, when people are recommended, not everyone takes the recommendation. So it's tough. I personally think we should have locked down much sooner than we did, because I mean, I think that just would have been smart.
It would have just made too much sense. That's all. And that's.
Well, and again, I don't want to get too much into politics, but it's true. I mean, people are like, oh, well, we've done everything we can do, and well, we suggest that you do this and this, but they're not really making it the law. And it's like, well, clearly it's not cutting it, because our numbers keep increasing, and
That's it.
They talked about greater restrictions for weeks before they
did anything.
set anything into place.
Yeah.
So in those weeks, I think we could have brought our numbers. Yeah, we could have brought our numbers down.
Yeah, rather than letting
if we had done the right thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So our guy
here we are.
Yeah.
so here we are, locked down now, over the holidays, which is already a tough time for many people. And I think maybe that couldn't have been prevented, but I think our numbers could have gone down significantly if we would have taken care of this.
And they maybe could have had something
weeks and months ago.
100%, because holidays were fucked this year for sure. Like I'm not huge on Christmas and stuff like that anyways. Like for my kids I am, obviously, but like for me it's like, if I didn't have kids, I don't know, lots of bad times.
I'm the same way, honestly. I really struggle with Christmas. I think there's, again, like everything is very like full circle here, because it's also like this whole, like everything has to be perfect and all these Hallmark stories and like you have to have this perfect Christmas with your family and blah, blah, blah. And I think that's really ingrained in us too from the time we're very young. I'm someone who, like, even if I'm with my family, which I wasn't this year, I still feel just as alone as I was this year in a pandemic by myself across the country. I could feel the same amount of sadness.
A room full of family. Yeah, you don't have to be home to feel literally the sadness. That should be on a fucking Hallmark card. There you go. You just wrote a new reverse Hallmark card.
Exactly.
You don't have to be home to feel the sadness within, just like the Christmas spirit.
Yeah, when I'm with my family, I feel just as depressed as I am when I'm alone in a pandemic. Like, but it's true. I mean, I've had a lot of terrible times during Christmas holidays, and I think there's just a lot of pressure to have it look a certain way. And it's just like, that's not the point of the holidays. Like the holidays should be about connecting with people that you love, I think. Yeah. I don't give a shit about gifts, and I don't give a shit about a lot of things. I just
there you go.
I just want, take that Hallmark. I mean, I've been in some Hallmark movies, but fuck you.
Have you?
Yeah, well, just in the background. They film a lot of those in Ontario. So
really?
Yeah.
Which ones?
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking get them before they're off.
All of the brutal, well, they're all brutal. This is gonna come back.
Were you in A Christmas Prince? Or some shit?
No, I don't even remember. There's been a couple of them.
That's hilarious. I'm gonna look it up. I'll find it.
Yeah, I'll find the screenshot. I'll find the screenshots later, and it's like, oh, there's me.
Awesome. That's hilarious.
Brutal. Yeah.
Hallmark.
Fucking
don't
fake
sue
snow.
her, Hallmark. We're just kidding. Take a fucking...
Yeah, I love you.
Your movies are crap. Unrealistic.
I just think Yeah, that's it. It's unrealistic, and I think it really messes with people's minds.
Yeah.
It's this comparison thing of like, it has to look this way and it has to feel this way. And if it doesn't, it's wrong, or I'm wrong, or something's wrong.
Yeah.
And I just don't think it's real.
It's
like
not real. It's not at all real.
The reality is I just want to feel appreciated and loved, like, especially around the holidays, because those are the times where I usually don't feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I get stuck in my head and I convince myself that I don't mean shit to people, which is not true. But like, that's the dialogue that's running through my head on these holidays. And the thing that makes me feel better is just like someone to genuinely just take 2 seconds to be like, oh, I really appreciate you. Or like, oh, I really care about you. And I'm like, oh yeah.
That changes the narrative. There you go.
That's all it takes. It doesn't take a fucking Hallmark movie moment. Like, I don't need the fake snow, you know?
Come on. And the horse carriage and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't need it. Like, I just want to feel appreciated. That's it. They literally do use fake snow, by the way. It's bubbles.
It's bubbles?
Yeah.
Holy fuck. The jig is up, Hallmark. Even in Ontario, you had to make fake snow.
Well, and that's the thing. We have so much snow in Sudbury. But no, they like to film in the fall when there's no snow.
And there's no snow.
They make their own snow. That's how real it is. So cheers to that.
Cheers to that. That's horseshit. Those bastards.
Gosh.
Fucking puppet masters behind the curtain doing the fucking...
Yeah, and I mean, and they're very strict with their rules in terms of like wardrobe and facial hair and piercings and tattoos, and like nothing can be shown.
Even for extras?
Even for extras.
Oh my
God. Like the guys can't have any facial hair. If you have tattoos, you can't have any of them showing. Your makeup has to be very light, and it has to be just so. It's like, no one's going to see you in the background anyway.
I'm just walking from here.
Yeah, exactly.
So like,
I'm walking down the street.
I'm not even looking at the camera. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. How long a day was that, waiting for them to like say, okay, your turn, Justine, you're on?
Long.
Yeah.
Like 12-hour days. Yeah. 10 to 12 hours.
Holy fuck. That's ridiculous.
I've done a couple of acting gigs that weren't Hallmark, and I had a very different experience. I'll say that, because I think when you're hired as like a principal main actor, the pay is much different. They treat you much different. And when you're an extra, that's a whole other experience, because, well, it's basically minimum wage. You're waiting around for 10 to 12 hours. It's a really long day. It's not guaranteed that you're going to eat lunch or dinner on time or at all. And your clothes and your purse are probably down the street in like a holding room. So it's a crazy experience. I mean, it's a good experience to have because it makes you appreciate things, I guess. But anyways.
Sounds like too much standing around for my liking.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's good for people that have like a part-time gig, or a part-time job where they don't have to be somewhere else, because it is like a 10 to 12-hour day.
Fuck.
It's a long day. It's a long day. And it's usually like day after day after day. So you could wrap at midnight, and then you got to be there the next morning.
By like 8.
The crack of dawn. Yeah.
Earlier, yeah. I got asked to be an extra, or I got asked to be in a movie once. They were doing like a remake of, what the fuck was it now? Hardcore Logo. Some movie about punk bands and hardcore bands and shit. They want me to be a bouncer. I'm a bouncer, and I was a bouncer in real life, so it wasn't a far stretch, but I couldn't, it was the same sort of thing. I was like, I got a full-time job. Like, I can't be like, hey, sorry,
if you have,
gotta go be in a movie or whatever for Christ knows how long,
It's one of those things, like if you have other commitments, it's not great. Like if you're in between jobs, or you have a part-time job, or you're an artist and you're juggling a million things, then why not?
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, if you have other serious commitments, it's not really, I don't necessarily think it's worth.
It's not. I don't think
the sacrifice. I mean, that's up to each individual person to figure out, but yeah, I mean, yeah, good old Hallmark. I wasn't expecting to go on that tangent, but it happened.
That's fine. You can go on any tangent you want here. That is what this is for. That is seriously.
It's just the truth, you know. Give me a glass of wine and I will be brutally honest.
That's it. Yeah. The truth comes out. Yeah. Well, no, that's why I like to do this. I talk to a lot of people, and I just figured that they've probably all been asked the same fucking box of questions like that.
Yeah.
So why not just fucking talk to them? They say, well, how can you find the time to make up these questions? Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm saying until I've said it. I listen to the. If
but
you're
that's
a musician,
what I love about this
listen
stuff.
to the tunes before I go on, so I have a basic idea what you're about. Fantastic singer, by the way. Great stuff.
Thank you.
Loved it. What I could find on YouTube music was awesome. And and then I just go from there. I don't know. I don't agonize over it like some of these guys. Isn't that better? No. When you'd rather just have an organic fucking talk with someone.
It's candid. I like it. But this is why I enjoy doing podcasts, radio interviews, like any kind of press. Like, I enjoy that almost more than I enjoy making art, because it's like, it's real and it's authentic and it's in the moment. And I just thrive off of that, because I don't know, you're not stressing out about anything. It's just, It is what it is.
It is what it is.
That's why I love this.
Good. Well, perfect.
Yeah.
Me too. God damn it. That's good. So I was looking, like I said, now I forget the song titles. We had one called Poppy.
Yes.
Is that right? That's such a good fucking song. And I don't know if you know who, and I don't mean this as an insult. It's quite the contrary. But have you heard of Andy Schaaf? He's a Canadian singer-songwriter from here.
I don't think so.
He's really good. He's very good. And you are like, he does like the song, like the storytelling style stuff that you do. But I think that you guys are the same, only you're a female, and it's perfect because I'm Andy Schaaf.
I love that. Well, I'll have to check him out.
Yeah, please do. Listen to one of the most depressing songs ever written called "My Dear Helen."
Dear Helen. Yeah. That was the name of my great grandmother.
Really? No
really?
Shit.
It's a sign.
Synchronicity has been achieved.
It's a sign from beyond.
From beyond. It's a good tune. It's all about. It's about a man who's like a widow, and he's just like talking to Helen, who's in heaven, obviously, and like he just like, just kind of saying what him and the dog went up to or whatever. It's so sad. Like it's just like,
oh my gosh,
it's depressing. So
it's called My Dear Helen.
Yeah, that's off his Bearer of Bad News album. But he's awesome. He's a fantastic. Not to make it about him, but he's a good person. I try to show it the homies, but I could hear similarities in your technique or styles or whatever. And I thought, hey, that's cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah. So if you I like hearing about that.
Good, because you might like him. You may.
Yeah.
He's I don't know where he is now. I think he's moved to Toronto now. He was here, then he went over to Europe for a while, and then he's back. I think he's back in Toronto. He used to bartend where I worked at, and it was fucking hilarious because we just get hammered after work. So funny. One day we're just sitting there. It had to be a Monday or some shit. I don't know what band was playing. I did security, and I'd hang around till everybody was gone type thing all the time. That was my job. But then the one night he's like, let's just go fucking drink in the stock room. I was like, okay. And we just grabbed like a shitload of those twisted teas or whatever. Just
oh my gosh. But see, that's the real shit.
That's the real shit. We just drank. It was fucking hilarious. I don't know why we drank so much as we did, but it was a good time.
But memories, you know?
Yeah. And he's a small man. Like he's probably like just 5 feet. He might be 4'10".
Really?
Like he's short. I'm sorry, Andy, you're not listening, but you're tiny. And remember it was at a staff Christmas party.
Oh
now
my God.
they do these Christmas parties and they leave them open to the public. So because all the patrons for the music could come in and blah, and that's awesome, that's fine. But some asshole came in there and he's just like fucking shit talking Andy for some reason, because Andy used to have like super long hair. And he's like, he said something to the effect of like, I don't remember because I was good to go.
Yep.
He said something like, you look like a bitch, or he called someone he was with a bitch and she was a girl or something like that. And like Andy got like fucking pissed, like mad. I was right there. Andy got in this dude's face and he's like looking up at this dude and I was like, Andy, Easy. The fuck's up? Fucking. What do you want to do, big guy?
Oh my God.
It was wild, but he was he was sticking up for one of his female friends who he didn't appreciate. That's what it was. Fucking memories. I thought you're a good person.
That's always a good thing to do.
That's the way to do it, really. There's a lot of fucking shitheads out there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Stuck up for him. That's right. I've had many a tilt at work.
Well, I'm sure you've seen a lot of bar fights.
Yeah, I've seen a few, but that's just another day at the office. I did it for 13, 14 years. It was a long time. It's all sorts of shit. I had a kid pull a knife on me once.
Oh my God.
It was funny. It was like, it's funny now. At the time, it was like, oh my God, 1 second, like these fucking cats. It's ridiculous. Who's next? Go ahead. Come on. One goes out. I have 3 cats, and now we're back to player 1. Player 1 and player 2 keep switching. Anyway.
Oh, yeah?
The old one will be in soon now. She knows the other 2 are coming in here. It's fucking ridiculous.
Cats are funny.
Yeah, they don't care. So I used to work these events they called rap wars. They would take a bunch of like underprivileged youth or like inner city kids and pile them all into one building and see if the crime rate in their neighborhoods would go down if they were somewhere else for the night, type of thing. So they'd bring them all to our place. We're like, okay, fine, whatever. And it was good, positive outlet, everything. I thought that's good, no problem with that. But I walked into work the one night and the owner goes, he's like, hey, you're going to have a really fun night tonight. I was like, oh, why is that? He's like, well, it's rap wars. I'm like, yeah, it's always a fucking great time. He's like, yeah, there's going to be two rival girl gangs here and they like to fight. I said, perfect. He's like, yeah, they like to fight with knives.
Good. Oh my God.
Great. Wonderful. And so, I'm like 3 hours into the shift. I put them and I walk out front and yeah, there's these girls fighting. So I have to like go out and like pull these girls apart and say, fuck off. Don't do the shit here. I don't want to see it. Blah, 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 blah. And I look and there's the little one who was the ringleader. I figured out from observing her later. She was the ringleader of the gang. Just like fucking stared at me. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I look down. She's holding like just like a paring knife. Not even like a fucking. She's like gonna fucking cut an apple or something.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and she's like looking at me. And I looked at her. I was like, okay, how do I play this? Because I've never had a knife pulled on me before. And I'm not sure what I should do. But I just looked at her and I said, okay, why don't you put that fucking thing down and I'll show you how to use it, sweetheart. she just dropped it and ran. I was like, picked it up and ran inside.
Oh my God.
Like, oh my God. Went to the bartender. Crazy. He's like, oh, where'd you find that? I said, well, almost in my fucking heart. Like, I don't know. This is fucking...
Oh my God.
What I learned is being a bouncer is just, it's 90% mental and 10% physical. That's all. Anybody who tells the difference is a fucking liar. So he's got to know how to talk to people.
Yep. That makes sense.
Just be sure they don't call your bluff because then you have to do something. Otherwise you're
yeah. But I feel like when people are really intoxicated, I mean, they're not thinking clearly.
So, Never once.
Yeah.
That's fine. So during all this business, have you had a chance to like sit down and write? I know I watched the Funky Moose episode, but have you had time to work on any new stuff?
Yeah, surprisingly, I actually wrote a song last week and I was like, that's the first time in a long time that I just sat down and a whole song came out. Like it's been so fucking long. And I was like, this is awesome. And obviously that doesn't happen every day.
Right.
I've written a lot of lyrics. Like I'm very much a lyric writer.
Good.
So I'm always just writing ideas that come to me throughout the day. Like I just got to jot down some notes and whatever. It doesn't always become a full song, but it's cool when you can sit down and something just fully comes out. Like I've missed that. So that was cool.
Good.
So yeah, I try my best just to like let it flow. I'm not very good at sitting down and trying to force it because every time I do, it just doesn't really turn into anything.
Not what you're happy with. It's more of an organic. No. You like the more organic,
exactly.
free flow. Yeah, that's good. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think discipline's important in a certain regard. Like, I think you have to pay your dues in terms of like I don't know, a certain amount of theory or a certain amount of technique or skill. But once you've put in those years, like, I think you're pretty free. Like, it's free reign to just let it flow. That's how I treat it anyway. Like, I can sit down every day and try to force myself to write a song, but I'm probably going to write shitty songs that I hate if I do that, in all
Put the
honesty.
B-sides.
Like,
Put the B-sides album, you know?
yeah.
That's what people do with those.
So
they take a bunch of throwaways and say, unreleased, super rare. That's because it sucks.
Special edition.
Yeah. It's the worst. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, in all honesty, I do love a lot of B-sides, but like the B-sides that are like really good, you know. I don't want a full album of B-sides. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm one of those people, like I have to do it when inspiration strikes, and I don't know when that's going to be, unfortunately. But when it hits good. So,
well, you can't force it, like you said. You know, I had a talk with the great other female singer-songwriter, Amy Gaba from Ontario, and she was sitting there. We were talking about how a lot of people sit there and say, like, "Oh, there's going to be so much music written by these indie artists and this and that," and it's like, but not really, because this really fucks with a lot of people. You know, if you're out of your zone, you're out of your creative network you got, or whatever is inspiring you that you can't tap into right now, like, fuck you. Like, don't be so selfish and expect that just because someone's an artist that this is like the best thing that could happen to them, because then they got nothing but time to write. It's like the 100%. Exact opposite.
Yeah, I really resonate with that, because you're right. I mean, just because you have the time doesn't mean that the inspiration is there. And I think that's been a struggle for me too, because I mean, I'm just getting back into my groove of writing that I lost for a while. But at the same time, like, I don't have it every day because we are in a pandemic, and I don't
have other worries. You have other worries. You don't have, like I said, you don't have the human interaction. Yeah. You don't have people,
exactly.
You don't have the people you maybe go to bounce ideas off of, but you know, maybe you're wondering about, well, what the fuck am I going to do with this? What happens if this shit gets worse? What, you know, like, there's so many other stressors than, I can't get this fucking melody. What's this fucking melody? You know, like, it's not.
Exactly. I think so much of songwriting, I mean, obviously, for me, it's always been a very cathartic thing where I'm processing a lot of emotions and stuff. And, you know, I think you can do that when you're isolated. However, like, a big part of storytelling is what you feel from human connection.
Yeah.
Because you get inspired by people.
Absolutely.
It's the people you meet. It's the conversations you have. It's the experiences you have down at the bar, you know? Yeah. It's like, it's the real shit that happens in life. And when all that's taken away, like, what are you going to write about?
Yeah.
Like, you're sitting in your room every day for like weeks on end. It's like, well, where am I going to pull my inspiration from? It's difficult. So I agree. Like, I think it's really, really difficult to try to have a positive state of mind in general. And I think it's difficult to have this like perfectly crafted song right now, because you're just trying to survive. Like, forget about thriving. You're just trying to survive your day.
Bare minimum to just get out of bed and maybe put pants on. You know?
Exactly.
If you do that, right on. That's it.
Gold star.
That's the approach that my wife have taken. It's like, okay, did they today? Yeah, okay, well. You know?
Exactly. But I think people need that reminder that, like, but that's okay. I think, again,
and that comes down to unrealistic expectations.
Exactly. I was going to say, like, full circle again, because it's like there's all these expectations of like, I need to write the best music of my life right now. That's a lot of pressure.
I would rather write fucking nothing during the pandemic at all, and then just 2022, 2023, just fucking blow the doors open with whatever. You know, maybe when shit settles down, you can get back to doing shows and stuff. Like, I don't know. I don't see the rush right now.
Exactly.
Because you can't take this new bucket of songs you're trying to write and do fucking what with them. Like, you can't go record them unless you can demo them yourself. But like, I don't think you can go into studios, can you? Probably not.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not going into any studios right now, but I mean, I think you bring up a good point, because I literally was having like a pep talk with myself earlier, and I said exactly that. I'm like, Yeah, I'm like, what's the fucking rush? Because I just think there's so much pressure as an artist. And this is what I was feeling for the past like 2 years of my life is everyone's still moving forward. I'm stuck. I can't, like, I'm not putting out any new shit anymore. And I'm probably irrelevant. Like, those are the things that go through artists' brains. And
Every
it's
day.
like,
So once you, I think that's ingrained once you identify yourself as an artist, right?
yeah,
That's just
it's just
something that's
like
a
you can
voice in
never
your
keep
head.
up.
It's like if I'm a fucking artist, then I should be doing X, Y, Z all the time.
Exactly. It's just like, it's a never winning game in your head because it's like, you're just constantly feeling like you're not doing enough. That's not a good feeling. But you're right. It's like, what's the rush? I think the pressure comes from, and that mentality of like, everyone's going to create good art. I think that comes from this place of like, it's the struggle. It's like the typical romanticized artist struggle because people are actually really hurting right now. And I get it because I struggle too. Like people are really tapping into some deep emotions. And I think that's why there's this expectation of we need to
Something has
create
to
good
come
art
from it.
because
Yeah.
exactly, because we're actually like accessing those emotions on a daily basis where I think in the past we were so busy and everyone even people that aren't artists like everyone was so busy with their 9 to 5 lives and the hustle and bustle of whatever and being so distracted like when all of that's stripped away you realize like oh there's a lot of shit I wasn't really wanting to look at. There's a lot of feelings I didn't want to
Well,
feel.
there's a
There's a
lot
lot of
of
problems that I
exactly.
didn't want to face, right? Like even within relationships or family dynamics or what have you. Like there's a lot of shit that's come up this year for people. And guess what? Like you can't really run away from it because
Nowhere to
you
run,
are
right?
locked in your house and you're having to deal with it. And I
You're
think that's why
surrounded by
there's
it.
this exactly. There's this expectation of like, well, if you're gonna sit and stew in it, then why can't you write art about it? And from
Because this is
from
shit
that
that you've
perspective,
never had. Yeah.
I kind of get it because it's like, yeah, it's authentic, real, raw emotion. And the best art, I think, is from that place. However, when you're in it day in and day out for almost a year and you can't escape it, I think it's hard to write about because typically when life is normal, you go into those deep feelings as an artist and then you can leave. But the
But
thing
that's a
about this year is
choice.
you can't.
That's
Yeah,
the choice,
exactly.
right? You could, it's like tipping your toe in the
Yeah.
water to see what it's like. But now it's like you fucking dove in and you
It's like you're
can't
stuck
swim
in
back to
it.
the top, right? Yeah.
Exactly. It's like everyone's stuck in the mud. And if you're drowning in quicksand or you're stuck in the mud,
The
I'm
more you
pretty sure
try to
you're not
move, the
feeling
further.
you're not inspired to write those like the top #1 song that you've ever written in your life that's going to go
No,
to #1 on the charts. Like you're trying to fucking survive and get out of the mud, you know?
that's it. Yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
I think that's why I try to take inspiration as it comes because like there are still beautiful things that have happened throughout the year in my personal life, which I'm trying to like take inspiration from and I can still write about it. But I don't feel that way every day. It's
Yeah,
just the truth. There's a lot of days where I feel like garbage and I question a lot of things about my life and about the world and about the state that everything's in. And I think that's just normal to feel, you know?
it is normal. It's normal to feel that way. And and just talking about all the, the tapping into the dark and everything, it's just like you guys, when we're all working 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, go 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 go. There's a lot of traumas you don't have time to deal with. You don't
100%.
realize you didn't have time to, like you said, it's like, oh shit, that sucks. That's a fucking brutal memory, but here it is. Or
Yep.
and then that brings
Yep.
another one with it, and that one has friends and blah 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 blah. Right. So yeah, it's hard. Like just lay off people. Lay off guys that you think are gonna write all
It's
this
true.
crazy shit. Like fuck off, man. Everybody's trying to figure their shit out right now. It's a whole
100%.
new recalibration. It's a reset for society. It's a reset for a lot of people trying to figure out what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
Could be a blessing in that sense. You have the time to maybe work out some shit you never had to before, but fucking scary too.
It's hard work. And I think you're so on the ball with that because people are having to face like I said, all that stuff. It's the old traumas. It's the old triggers. It's the stuff that you thought you moved past. It's the stuff that you probably also never looked at. It's like, it's uncomfortable. And sometimes when you're in that state of processing, like, it's a process once again. Like, it's not something that you're just going to be like, okay, I feel like garbage today, so I'm going to make this beautiful novel or this beautiful song or this beautiful painting to share with the world.
Movie.
It's just like, it doesn't work that way, you know? It just doesn't. Like, you have to go through it first. Like, it's kind of like anyone that goes through a dark night of the soul or any kind of like any kind of healing or any kind of really bad situation. Like, it doesn't go away overnight. Ever.
No, it doesn't. It never has.
Ever.
Yeah, exactly. And that, and that's exactly comes back to just what we're saying. It's like, it's easy for an artist and during the normal time to like be able to channel something and pull something out.
Yep.
Not be
exactly. You tap into it and then you leave.
Yeah, it's like, okay, got what I needed to see you later. And I was like, fuck
yeah. And then you kind of like thank your muse and you move on. Yeah. But the thing is, with this year, like, you really can't escape it. You can try to numb it out all you want, and people are turning to like various addictions of like any kind. People can be addicted to anything. It could be some sort of substance or alcohol, or it could be
like an Amazon.com.
Literally, like, you can be addicted to social media, like anything. We're all using whatever coping mechanism we can possibly find. Yeah. And I think that's also huge
for sure. 100%.
Oh, me too. 100%. I think negative thoughts are addicting too. And I think the comparison game is addicting. I think just all that stuff. And I think that's human nature. I think it's really easy to get lost in all of that.
Yep. It is.
You know?
It is.
But when you're still locked in your house for almost a year, you can numb out all you fucking want, but at the end of the day, you're still gonna have to face your demons, I think. Yeah, and maybe today you don't, but tomorrow you will.
They'll be there. They'll be waiting for you.
Yeah, and it's like, guess what? We're not back to hustle and bustle tomorrow. We're still in lockdown tomorrow.
There's your next song.
So it's just like, if I want to avoid it tonight, cool. But tomorrow, it's like gonna look me dead in the face. And probably the day after that, and the day after that, and the day after that, because life is still on standstill.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be for.
So people are, I get it. Like, it's not easy to feel stuff out. It's not easy to look all your deepest shit in the face. It's like, it's not an easy feat for anyone, whether you're an artist or you're not. Mm-hmm. But you can only try to escape it for so long. Like, I think that's probably one of the biggest things to come from this pandemic is people really like just they have to try to deal with what's going on inside of them and what's working and what's not working. Yeah. And I guess in their external life too.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Like, run all you want, distract all you want, but guess what? You don't have the 9 to 5. Guess what? Pretty much everything's closed.
Can't go there. Can't go to the gym.
Yeah, pretty much the malls are closed. The restaurants are closed. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't really perform anymore. And anything else you enjoy, no social life.
Can't do that. Yeah, I can't have friends.
So what are you left with? Like, you're left with yourself. You're left with your mind.
And if you fucking hate yourself, that's a bad time.
Exactly.
I don't even like hanging out with this asshole. Oh, wait, it's me.
Exactly. Like, this is a hard time. This is a hard time for a lot of people. I really think for everyone to some degree. Like, I think it's just a different situation for everyone. Yeah. But with all that being said, I think this is why I think it's important to try to be like compassionate with ourselves and other people too. Because I've seen people that are like, I mean, honestly, I think people are losing their shit, and I think that's fair. But I think a lot of people are also trying to tear other people down right now. And I'm like, there's enough stuff going on in the world. Like, the last thing I want to do is go and attack other people.
Yeah, that's true.
personally. Like I
was like that. I was out on that terror for a while. I was just like fucking listening about like anti-maskers and shit. I think they're just fucking stupid. But
well, that makes sense.
They are stupid, but they're just really, I don't know.
But see, like, that's something that's worth arguing about. Like,
I think so. I would think so.
Because that's like a matter of life or death. Like I'm talking about the people, like I lost one of my best friends this year, my quote unquote best friends, for pretty much no reason, like just out of stupidity. And they just turned out to be a backstabber. And I'm like, really? Like there's enough going on in the world right now. Like if you're not a genuine friend and you showed that to me, then we're over. Bye. Like, but why do you want to cause drama? Like, it's just, I don't have time for that. Yeah. I don't have time for that outside of a pandemic. And I certainly don't have time for that inside of one. I just don't.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. But I think when we all go forward, when you're making new relationships and shit, the first question I'll fucking ask someone is, did you wear a mask during the pandemic? If they say no, I'll say,
you're out.
That's it. Yeah, I just learned everything I fucking needed to know right there, you idiot.
Yep.
That's about it,
Pretty much.
It's not hard. It's not hard to do. I don't have to wear it for 10 hours or 12 hours a day or anything like that. I put it on when I go to the store. I take it off when I get to the car. I go home. There you go.
Exactly. And you're right. It's not a hard thing to do. And also I just think it's a human decency thing. I mean, I've heard, unfortunately, a lot of people come from this perspective of, well, I'm young and if I get it, I'll be fine. And it's not about that, because unfortunately, with this illness, you can have it and you may not have symptoms, which means you could be silently carrying that and giving it to people that can't handle it.
Yeah.
So there are literally people dying from it. And just because you didn't die from it
doesn't mean someone else won't. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it just comes down to that. It's the consideration for other people, for your fellow man. And I just feel like even outside of a pandemic, shouldn't that be a thing? Shouldn't you give a shit about like your neighbor or your fellow man? It's not always about like you being okay and like fuck everyone else. It's just like, what happened to caring about other human beings?
Right. Well, it seemed when this thing kicked off, there was such a big sense of like, oh, we're all in this together and blah, blah, blah. We'll get through it. And now it's like a whole big, like, go fuck yourself. Fuck that guy. And you and you and you, and there's a huge divide now. And I don't know why. I guess because everybody's just got the fatigue and shit like that. And I get it. For sure it sucks. But it's not going to go away if you stop trying.
Right. Well, and you raised an interesting point, because I've thought about this as well in terms of like thinking about, is COVID really the thing that's keeping us divided? Because I think in some ways, obviously,
I don't think it's COVID necessarily.
Exactly. And physically it's keeping us apart right now. But I think truly there's a lot of things that are keeping us divided that go way beyond.
Way deeper than COVID. COVID was just the catalyst.
Yep. 100%. And I think that's what people should be looking at, really, because it's like,
is it COVID, or is it that you're a racist fuck? Or is it COVID, or is it that you're whatever?
Or are you just an asshole?
I think you're just a bastard. Don't you blame COVID. COVID didn't ask for this, you prick.
The thing, I mean, it's always easy to point the finger. And I know there's that saying about like pointing the finger, but there's like 3 other fingers pointing back at you. And it's like, you have to take responsibility for yourself. And unfortunately, I think there's a lot of people on this planet right now that still just don't want to take responsibility for their actions or for their whatever.
Yeah.
For the things they say, for the things they do. And I think that's really unfortunate. But, a pandemic such as this, I think should bring that to light. It's easy to blame all the time.
It just seems like
blame your mom, you can blame your dad, you can blame a pandemic, you can blame your ex, you can blame this person, your teacher from grade 5. Like, I don't care. You can blame everyone you want. But it's like, you know what? At the end of the day, like, you're responsible for who you are as a human and what you contribute, I think. And
well, there's no accountability, right? Nobody's holding themselves accountable for, like you said, you can blame anybody.
It's
But
easy
nobody will
because that's
sit
the
there and
easy way
say,
out.
yo, I need to do some work. I fucked up. My bad. You know, like just say that. Even if somebody said, hey, I know.
Yep.
I got a lot of shit I
But
got to
like,
do.
what's the
But at
harm
least
in
do
that?
that. What's wrong with admitting that maybe you're not educated in this, whatever, you know, in the
Exactly.
pandemic or how it works or this and that, or maybe you have skewed fucking world views that you need to work on and shit. Like just say that, but don't put up a wall and say, well, fucking, you know. Just
but it's true. I think
something.
exactly. I don't think there's anything wrong with admitting that you're wrong sometimes because we're all human and we all make mistakes.
Everybody
And there's
makes
times
mistakes.
where
I make mistakes every fucking day and I'm kick ass.
yeah, like each of us like are wrong to a certain degree. Like
Yeah.
I think it's important just to try your best, but you have to take accountability. Accountability and like just being responsible for yourself is super important to me. That's something I really value. And, it's just like the easy way out is to blame everyone else and to not take any action on your own account. I just, I think that's a really outdated way
doesn't
of
it just
being.
seem like there's no like champions that there's like no people to fucking like look up to anymore? You feel like that? I think about that too. It's like, well, where's the role model? Like, where's the like? I'll say Barack Obama because I thought he was the shit. But like, where's the guys like that? Like the upstate, like the classy people or the classy women.
Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, Mr. Rogers, whatever.
But for sure.
You know what I mean? Like anything like that. It's like dudes and dudettes that had morals and values and things they stood for. And, they couldn't be bought and they couldn't be tainted or whatever. They're like a shining knight and fucking, like we don't have that no more. There's nothing.
Well,
nothing's coming to save us. And if you don't find it within yourself and be that, I think, for yourself at this point.
Yep.
It's not looking good.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. That's why I try so hard to be that person because, I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm human like everyone else. Mm-hmm. I have bad days. I have days where I feel like shit. I have days where I don't feel very strong or very inspirational, but like I have other days where I'm like, I should probably give myself more credit, but also people need that exact thing you're talking about because there's not a lot of it anymore. Yeah, people need hope. People need faith. People need to see strength and redemption and like.
Well, it's not exemplified anymore. It's not displayed anywhere now. It's like I'm not talking like fragile masculinity strength. I'm talking, you know what I mean? I'm saying like this guy has values. He fucking sticks to his shit, and that's that.
But genuine role models.
Exactly. Real people role models.
Exactly.
I don't see it anymore.
No, because
that started with fucking
facade.
Trump. I'll say it. That started with fucking donkey Donald Trump, the idiot. Everybody thought, oh, hey, he's my role model. Yeah, well, he's the wrong kind of fuck, like, I don't know. It's depressing.
But this just circles back to everything we're talking about because it's like the world right now is not in a great place in many regards. I think there's a lot of pain and maybe we've come a long way in certain ways, but man, we still have a long way to go.
10 steps back and so many others.
Yeah, but where it starts is with ourselves, right? Yeah. Because like I just think there's so many people that feel hurt and they don't know what else to do, so they just point the finger and they blame and it goes nowhere. And we just end up with like another generation of nothing changed. And I think the change starts with us, like individually.
Yes, it has to.
You have to like take responsibility for your life and the people you interact with.
And then that'll radiate out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's literally the only thing we can control.
Yeah, you can only control
and I think
yourself.
I think this pandemic highlights, if nothing else, it's that because there's so much in this world that's out of our control. And people don't like that. Humans don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like losing a sense of control because that means you're losing a sense of safety and security and all this other stuff that, as humans, we crave and desire.
And work so hard to create.
Exactly. So when that's stripped away from you, like you're in fight or flight mode, man. Like you're just not doing good. But at the end of the day, you can only control like yourself, how you take care of yourself, how you treat people, how you treat yourself. Like, what else is there?
There's nothing else.
Everything else is what you're scrolling through on fucking social media.
And that's not real, guys. That's not real. I got buddies for sure, you know what I mean, on social media that I've made friendships with during the pandemic, and that's fucking awesome. Like,
yeah.
And they're great people, and they check in on me more than my real life friends check in on me, you know, so that's cool.
Yeah.
I can't see my real life friends anyways. But I can talk to these guys whenever.
Exactly. Well, and I think too, like after all of this like social media bashing, like I do have to say it can be used as such a powerful tool in a positive way
if you use
like
it for
connect.
the right things. Yes,
exactly. Yeah.
Like I reached out to you on Twitter because I saw that
of course.
funky music. So I was like, cool, I'll check out, see what's going on. And just all the exactly. I've been using it immensely for the podcast and just networking, and
but that's like awesome. That's the best thing that you can do for yourself.
Go on there to fucking go on some stupid fucking tirade about anti-Semitic bullshit or whatever. It's like, nah, man, I want to fucking talk to this person. I don't want to sit there and say you're a fucking idiot. I'll talk to you.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, I think good friendships can be found online. I mean, I've found quite a few myself. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like time and energy is precious, and how you want to spend it is totally up to you. It's up to every individual person what they want to put out into the world, whether that's like in real life or on social media. And I just try my best to like be a good human.
You try to use it. So when you're on your social media, do you try to use that as like a mirror? You know, like you're the same person on social media as you are in real life.
100%.
Yeah.
Sometimes I meet people in real person, and
they're completely different on social media. And it's like,
yeah, that's happened. But also I've met people too where like they've been following me on social media, and I meet them and I'm kind of like, oh God, you've seen like the realest shit from me. Because I use, especially like something like Instagram, as a place where I am just very honest and very candid about things in my life, and sometimes more than I would be with my own family. I treat it as like an extension of my stage performance where you connect with people. Like I show people the highs and the lows, and not everyone does that. So when I meet people sometimes for the first time in person, I'm like, oh fuck, like they've probably seen me with no makeup on, crying in my underwear. You know, it's just like they see like they see the truth, and I don't know if there really should be shame about that.
No, there shouldn't be. I don't think there's no shame in that.
But you're right. I've also met people that have been from the internet, and I'm like, oh, like I had a totally different view of you in your life.
You're
and
way less impressive than on your Twitter feed.
Yeah, that's happened a couple times. But to be honest, I've met a lot of great people online, and when I've met them in person, they've equally been great. But on occasion, it's like, oh, like maybe this person isn't as authentic as I thought they were. But
that's all it comes down to is authenticity.
Such is life. I agree. Like that is just.
You can just smell the bullshit on people now, especially now. It's like I've had a long fucking time to sit away from people, and I can smell it even more than I fucking could before.
But in a way, isn't that a blessing though? Because I mean, I'm the kind of person that's just like, life is so short, and it's like I don't mind carrying a conversation with anybody. Like I could. Yeah, sometimes little interactions throughout the day are great. Like whether it's a cashier at a grocery store or someone you see in line and you share a little laugh, like, it's not necessarily super meaningful, but it's still a genuine moment. Mm-hmm. But I think when it comes down to like just people that you choose to be in your life and in your close circle, like they better fucking be worth it and have your back and know what you're all about and not want to tear you down. Like I just feel like that goes without saying. Like why do you want to keep people in your but I just think there's so many people that want to keep people around because like they think they're cool, or they think that they're part of some sort of circle that
I made a lot of fucking mistakes like that.
It's just like life's too fucking short, man. I mean, I struggle with finding a lot of friends. Like I've always had a very small, tight-knit, close circle of friends. And I've also had a lot of best friends leave my life at times that were very inconvenient and devastating for me to lose friends at a time. Like when I was going through like super, I don't know, just whatever it was. Like every time I've gone through super hard times or super high good times, I've lost significant people in my life. And that's very challenging. But at the same time, I'd rather have less people than, it's the quality versus quantity thing, you know?
Yeah. You'd rather have $1 than 100 pennies. Someone said that once. What the fuck was that?
Yeah.
I think that was Amy Gabba again. Amy Gabba said that. $1 over 100 pennies. I think that was her.
I like that. That's just how I feel. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. But when you like you're talking about all the stuff you've gone through, do you find now, having maybe had a little bit of space in between, like pandemic aside, isn't that like a pretty like empowering thing? Like I feel like humans chase this overwhelming sense of acceptance that they have to fit in, and here's a group of people, and even if they're not your people, they're still people, and you feel like they're accepting you and this and that, but they're not necessarily the right fucking group of people for you. So when you have fallouts with that groups or fallouts with you think who are your best friends and shit like that, and you kind of like sit back and be like, no, that wasn't for me. That wasn't particularly my not to my taste, I guess. I think there's a pretty like empowering feeling to realize that, like, yeah, it sucks, but you were maybe on the wrong track and your people are still out there. They just haven't found you yet.
Yeah. 100%. I 100%. I am someone who is, I don't know. I kind of would like to believe that what's meant to happen will happen, and what's meant to be will be, and the people that are meant to be in your life will kind of come in and find you. It's hard to keep that faith sometimes when you've been stabbed in the back so many times. 100%, I've lost a lot of faith because I've lost a lot of people that I thought were going to be in it for the long haul, and they weren't. It's hard. It's devastating sometimes. Like it's devastating. It's not just like, oh, I'm sad about it for a day. Like I'm talking like these are people that I thought like had my back. But you still have to believe that there's a reason for everything. Like I have experienced a lot of that in Calgary. I've only been here for a little over a year, and most of that year was a pandemic. However, like the people that I've met and the experiences that I've had have been so significant, and they've felt authentic and almost divine in a way. Like I haven't felt that kind of connection with people in a really long time. So on some level, I feel like I'm supposed to be here, if that makes sense. And sometimes I'm like, that's fucking crazy. But I have other days when I'm like, you know what? Nothing else makes sense. It doesn't make sense for me to keep running back to my past that no longer exists. It's kind of like I went back and forth between my past and present for a long time. I went back to a lot of toxic relationships over and over and over, and I finally broke those cycles, luckily. But at this point, it's like I don't have anything to run back to. Like, kind of erased.
You gotta just keep running forward, my friend.
Yeah, it's all about running. Like it's all about running forward, and if I can't run, then I might as well walk or try to crawl forward. Like any kind of forward movement
straight ahead. Straight ahead.
I think it's important, and I don't know where things are going, and I think it's been really hard for me mentally and emotionally to try to wrap my head around what's happening in my life now and how to move forward because of this pandemic, because I've met people that have been very, very significant in my life, and have reminded me of like who I am and what I'm all about. And it's crazy when you meet people that just kind of like spark that thing in you, and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot that, I'm passionate about this, this, and this. And I forgot that I'm so strong.
I used to like that. I guess I still do. Yeah.
Right? Like it's actually mind boggling. And when you meet those people, it's so special But I've also met those kind of people in a year where nothing makes sense. And there's been so much
So you're
forward
being
progress.
cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because it's like I'm moving forward in so many ways, but at the same time, everything's at a standstill right now. And I'm just starting to question, like, what's real?
Yeah.
And, you know, was every experience that I've had so far authentic? It's like, obviously I feel like it was, but at the same time, when you sit alone for so long, you're like, what's even reality? Like,
Yeah, man. What's real? It's a fucking simulation. It's the worst simulation of all time.
It's just, yeah.
This
It's
pandemic
crazy.
needed way more zombies and time travelers. None of that.
It's a crazy time. It's a really crazy time. But you know what? Like I said, I mean, I have no regrets and I have nowhere to run back to. So I have to keep moving forward. And maybe I don't know how that looks or even how that feels anymore, because the world is just
I think you know.
paused.
I think you
But
know.
I mean, I have to believe on some level that I'm meant to be here. And
Yeah.
if anything, like lately I've really questioned, like, as one does in a pandemic and in isolation, you just question everything, and you question every move you've made. And I've questioned why I moved to Calgary and all these kinds of things. And it's like, well, I moved here to get my life back. I moved here to fight for myself again. I moved here to work on new music. I moved here to heal and to move forward and to let go of my past. And just because there's been a pandemic doesn't mean that stuff hasn't happened. Like I have to kind of acknowledge the fact that that stuff has still happened in the midst of this chaos.
It might feel like, maybe it feels like it hasn't, but yeah, you can't discount any of the stuff you're working on.
Yeah.
Even if it's clouded by the great big batch of bullshit that is 2020, it doesn't mean you're not making the right strides.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm just really glad, in all honesty, that I moved here when I did, because if I didn't, I think I would be
in a pandemic in a space that was such a negative time for you.
That's exactly.
Never mind the already negative from the pandemic, but from what I'm assuming from your past, it was just.
That's exactly it. I had that thought. I had that thought probably within the past week, and I don't think I actually fully comprehended it until this past week. And obviously this pandemic's been going on for quite a while, but I don't think I had that aha moment until literally like within the past 7 days, because I was like, thank God I got out when I did. Mm-hmm. Because if I was still back where I was, enmeshed with the same toxic, wrong people through a pandemic, guaranteed I would still be in that loop, and I wouldn't have come a quarter of how far, like, as I am right now, Good for you. So that's got to mean something. I mean, maybe I'm not exactly where I want to be. And again, I think that's that whole artist mentality of like, I want to be here by this time and this age and blah, blah, blah. But life doesn't really work on your own timeline sometimes. And I just think, like, I'm so lucky and thankful that I moved myself across the country before a pandemic. Yeah. As hard as it is to be here by myself, like, I've felt more like myself in this chaotic year, and I've felt more accepted by people, and I've felt more part of a tribe than I have in many years. Even though this year has been awful, I've still felt great in a lot of ways with a lot of people. And like,
that's good.
What else matters? Like,
there, back to the thriving. That sounds like you're kicking this pandemic's ass. There you go.
I mean, trust me, yesterday I was completely a mess, crying on my bed for no reason, just because I'm a female, and sometimes I just cry about nothing. But,
Must have been Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows what day it is? But I guess, like, this is why I like having conversations like this, because it reminds me that maybe I'm not doing so bad. I could convince myself all day long that I'm a piece of shit and that I am not doing very well. But it's like, when you put things in perspective, it's like, I'm doing a lot better than I was over the past few years, which feels like a long time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. In pandemic time, that's like 3 weeks.
But aren't we also hard on ourselves? It's like, it's got to be this again. This is all back to it doesn't help when you have Hallmark and social media adding to the added, it just adds to the stress. Fucking Hallmark.
Hashtag this down with Hallmark, this whole fucking thing.
Take Hallmark down.
They started
take down.
Hallmark's behind COVID-19 to keep you inside and watch their shitty movies and make you not have realistic expectations. That's it.
But you know what I mean? Like, everyone has enough shit going on in their own head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They certainly don't need any extra.
I don't need to look at my phone and be like, oh, well, Bobby is doing great over there and Karen is, flipping out, but that's normal.
That's normal. That's Karen.
Yeah. And Hallmark just looks peachy. It's just.
What am I doing?
That should not.
Life? Yeah.
But that should not be the focus. The focus should be like, well, how am I doing?
That's it.
How far have I come? Am I taking care of myself? Am I feeling okay? Like, what's going on? Like, what do I need to work on? What do I need to take accountability for? Who do I need to, like, send a message to that I haven't reached out to in a while? Like, these are the things that matter. It's not fucking like this Prince Charming Ken doll that's on fucking TV. Like, what matters to you? Who matters to you? Like, period.
Yeah. And focus on that. It sounds so simple, really.
I mean, isn't life simple? But we just complicate it,
Yeah, life's pretty simple, really.
It's just like.
Just a series of ups and downs and waves and all that. Yeah, you're fine.
I mean,
you got a roof, you got food, you're good to go.
Well, and this is what I was going to say is like, yeah, you have to like have shelter and food and water and finances to do that for yourself. And, if you're lucky, you get to pursue a passion as well. Yeah. But what else matters? It's like family, friends, like people that you love. Yeah. Life is so short and we all forget that. Until someone dies and then we're like, oh my God, I can't believe.
Yeah. And then you have that, oh fuck, I should.
Yeah. But it shouldn't take someone dying in your life to realize what matters to you or who matters to you.
I've always thought that, but people get so fucking caught up in shit and then that's just like, bam, it's like, oh fuck, there it is. A reminder.
And again, yeah, I've always thought that too. And again, this is the kind of year that really highlights that. Because it's like people are dying left and right, whether you want to admit it or not, whether that affects you personally or not. This is the reality. Like the reality is that this is killing people. Pretty intense. But also like look at the realities of your life and what's working and what's not. And maybe you can't do anything right now, but what are you going to do in the future? Like, is this going to push you to like do what you want to do or be with who you want to be with or whatever? Yeah. Or are you just going to live like this for the rest of your life? Like, that's pretty intense shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. It's good. I like that.
So, I don't know.
Light conversation for your Wednesday night. But important conversation, right?
This is like, yeah, I mean, I've always had conversations like this my entire life and people were always like, you're too much for me. Or I just remember in high school being like, I can't handle it. It's just like, it's the truth, man.
That's the truth. That's what people need to hear is the fucking truth. That's it.
I think so. I think there's enough bullshit out there already. Why am I going to add to that?
Exactly.
Why am I going to add to the bullshit? And why am I going to add to the negativity? There's enough of that going on already.
You got to be the samurai sword that cuts through the bullshit.
I'll be Mulan. There's a new Mulan movie. I just watched it.
Is it good? Is it up for
Yeah.
free now? Because those bastards when that fucker came out, they're like, oh yeah, for
It's
sure.
on Disney.
Yeah, if you pay
Yeah.
the extra $30 above your
Pay me $1
subscription,
million and maybe you can watch it.
watch it. Yeah, it's like, fuck you. Okay, I'll watch it then.
No, but it's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's a good story.
Yeah, okay, I'll check it out.
You have kids, right?
I got kids. I do. I got 2 little boys. Yeah,
That's
4 and
cute.
2.
Oh, very young.
My God, tell me about it. And yet so old, you know.
Yeah.
With their mouths and the attitudes and the things.
Oh yeah. I have quite a few young cousins, and I've seen them through those stages, and it's a lot. But it's a beautiful thing to be able to like.
Are their parents still around by choice? Yeah.
But you get to like influence their lives, right? So
yeah, that's true.
That's a huge job.
That's a very huge job for sure. I try to just let them like have fun and do what they want to do within reason.
Yeah.
You know, and like clean up their shit and treat their mom right. That's
respect women and clean up your shit.
Clean up after yourself and respect women and like music, and that's it. Everything else.
That's really all that matters. See, if half of the fucking world was like that right now, we'd be in a much better place.
Pick up your shit, treat women right, and just like tunes, man. You're good to go.
Yeah. Simple. Life is simple, remember?
Not that hard. Just gotta know what the fuck you want to do. Well, I feel bad I even talked to you about your music because your music is so phenomenal.
Well, really I appreciate it. I think the world also just needs truth right now. So, I mean, I'm cool with just, you know, having this conversation. So
good. Well, I really enjoyed it. And if, you know, I'll check back in with you in a month or 2 and see how the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
You still I appreciate have the same it. Shiny outlook, just to check in, make sure you're all right.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. And it's cool. Like, thanks for connecting. And it's nice to like chat with you and the guys at Funky Moose, and like everyone's been really awesome. So obviously I have to make it to Saskatchewan at some point because good people live there. So
yeah, well, they'll get you. Mark and Joel will get you there. What the fuck do they? Chesterfest? What the fuck are they talking about? Some festival they want to put on. They want to put on some music festival. They'll get you there.
That'd be awesome.
We'll make it happen somehow.
One day. When we can leave our homes.
Everything's normal-ish.
Yeah.
Now whether the people when we come back out to the daylight will be normal, who knows?
The real question is, are we ever going to share microphones again?
Never. Nope.
Never again.
I didn't fucking share a microphone before.
That was probably a smart move.
Hell yeah, I don't fucking trust nobody shit. Nope, I'd carry mine, pop it in, away you go. Take it with me. Put it in the bag.
That's a smart thing. Off. Yeah.
Unless it's karaoke, then that's different.
Well, then you're drunk and you don't give a shit.
Then I rationalize it. It's like, well, I'm drunk enough. There's probably no germs going to get me, right? It's fine.
Exactly.
Well, it was a pleasure. It was nice to talk to you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, keep in touch. Tell us where we can support you. If you have a website, where we can find your music.
Well, Mark was making fun of me because my website is terrible and I haven't updated it.
Tell Mark to make you a new one then. What the fuck are you doing?
Well, he should. I really need to get on some new web design stuff. Yeah, pretty much it's just wherever. I mean, Spotify, I have some singles up. I deleted my first record because it's terrible.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Too bad. I would like to hear that.
Well,
oh, darn it.
We'll see.
Okay.
You know, Twitter, Instagram, all of the things.
All the things. She's everywhere.
But we'll get Mark on my website, hopefully.
Nice. Good. I'll bug him.
Because it sucks.
Make it happen. 2021.
It's like a pre-made horrible website where you just input your own things and it looks awful.
Yeah. Oh, like a
GoDaddy template. Yeah.
Yeah, I did one of those.
Pretty much.
Brutal.
Pretty much. Brutal.
Oh well, that's fine. You did your best. That's all you can hope for. Don't hold yourself to these lofty web designer standards. God damn it.
Yeah, it's just like Hallmark, it's not real.
You're
Who
not
goes
real.
on my website anyways?
No
Like,
one
what are
uses
you going to
websites.
find on my website that's not anywhere else, really?
That's what I was going to say. Nobody uses those fucking things. You can put those links in your Twitter bios all you want, but I'd never go there.
No, I
I
mean,
don't know where your music's at.
realistically, I mean, if people ever wanted to find me, it's like if you put my name in Google, you'll probably find my YouTube or my Instagram. It's
Right.
probably way more significant than my website. But
Right. If you want to buy something, whatever, find it on the website, that sort of thing. But
yeah, I mean, I don't have like a different stage name or anything, so it's like if you type me in anywhere, it's there. So.
that's good. Fair enough. Fair enough, people. Well, yeah, again.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It was nice to talk to you.
Thank you too.
Be in touch. Check out Justine Giles, goddammit. It's nice. Take care. Hopefully we don't have a fourth lockdown. 3 and out.
I know. I hope not.
Good luck.
Keep in touch.
Talk to you later.
All right. Sounds good. Bye.
Bye-bye.